Are you grinding on your music all day long, making beat over beat and making loop over loop, but you don't make any money with it, or not the money that you actually want to make, then you have found the right video. Because in this video I will discuss 3 fundamental problems that you can fix immediately and that are the reason that most producers are not making any money. At the end of the video you will know the exact action steps that are important to change your current situation. Let's don't waste any time and get right into the video. First of all, if you have watched some of my videos, you will know that music has a lot of opportunities to make money. That's why I want to ask you a simple question. Do you have a specific amount of money that you want to make with those different revenue streams? Like, did you actually write down a number on a piece of paper or put it into an Excel sheet? Is there an actual action step behind it? Did you not just only think about it, but did you actually write something down? Pause the video now and write down the numbers for the next 6 months that you want to achieve with a revenue stream, like selling beats or selling loops or selling drum kits, selling sound banks, whatever. Write down the number right now. Pause the video and then come back. If you don't know your goal, how do you want to know the way? I can tell you out of my personal experience, sitting at home at your computer all day long, things might seem a little bit bigger than they actually are. Once you break it down into I want to make X amount of money with revenue stream Y in time Z, you will automatically start to granulate the whole process into small action steps and small little pieces, and you will start to make that huge elephant in your mind into a small little mouse, and all of a sudden things get way easier. If your goal, for example, is to make 500 bucks of selling beats, to think about, okay, if I want to make 500 bucks, what do I need to do in order to get there? Do I need to post 1 beat per week, 2 beats per week, every day per week? You will start to ask yourself those type of questions. The more you break it down and the more you granulate it, the easier it will get for you to think that making a specific amount of money with a revenue stream is actually realistic. You will also quickly realize what is under your control and what not. If we stick with the beat selling example, which is probably the most common one, you will start to put energy into those things that are under your control. That's why every producer with more than 5 brain cells says that posting less than every day is not worth it, because that is what is under your control. If you can decide to get 3 lottery tickets for free or 7 per week, you have to be dumb to not choose the 7. Guys, please. And that's why a lot of people do email marketing. Things like that seem big at the beginning, but once you start to take the first steps, it will get way easier. There's also something that I want to talk about later in the video. Those are the things that are under your control to maximize the chances of you actually selling more. If you want to know how to maximize your sales properly, I just posted a video recently where I talk about specific action steps, and I'm not talking about generic bullshit that you see all over the internet. I'm talking about specific action steps related to beat selling to properly scale your music business. If that's interesting, check out the video description. Let's sum that up real quick. Hopefully you now have a specific amount of money you want to make with a specific revenue stream. Now you want to start to break it down into the action steps. What you need to do in order to get to the point where you make this money. And at the end of every month, you do a little recap, see where you stay right now, and then adjust. If you are on the right track, just move forward into that direction. But if you're not on track, do little adjustments to make sure that you achieve your goal. Let's get into the second point, which is something that I call the reality problem. That means that you fundamentally do not believe that it is realistically possible to achieve something because you don't have experienced it yourself, or nobody that you know has experienced something similar. And the example that I always refer to is the 10-second barrier. The 10-second barrier in sprinting is a great way to explain the correlation of the perception of limits and your ability to achieve something. Because there have been times where people actually believe that it is impossible to run the 100 meters under 10 seconds. Just a few athletes had done it, making it seem like a mythical benchmark. Mental blocks like that do impact your performance, because after the first athletes have managed to do it, more and more frequently people started to do it as well. If you don't actually believe that it is possible, it makes it so hard for you to actually get to that point, because the way how you program your mind decides over your success whether you like it or not. And to put the 10-second barrier into perspective, the challenge is that most producers don't have anybody in their environment that does something like that. Not only that, most of the time your closest people actually want get you to believe those self-limiting thoughts. My parents, for example, they work a normal job for their whole life, like a normal job. When I first started making music and dropped out of university to pursue this whole thing, they didn't believe it's possible. And I'm sure for most producers, it's the same. Or even your friends, like the people that I went to school with or to university, they all work normal jobs. Nobody's an entrepreneur. Nobody is self-employed. Don't need to work a normal job if you don't want to. If you put all your energy into something, you can actually achieve what most people think is impossible. I didn't have anybody like that in my life. So most producers have a big task ahead of them. It's to be the first guy to do it that breaks the 10-second barrier. And you have to believe in yourself that you can be that guy. And related to self-belief is also the last point that I want to talk about. I've also talked about it in one of my recent videos, but in a kind of different way. What I said is that artists that don't want to buy beats will never be successful. Because in my opinion, they are missing the right mindset in order to make it as a creative. And I've also talked about producers who rip off their drum kits and sound kits from Reddit or steal plugins and all that stuff. And I would now like to dig a little deeper into this, because I want to give you guys now my perspective on the importance of investing in yourself, because investing in yourself is strongly related to believing in yourself. I also want to give you examples of actual good investments as a producer and talking about the things that I'm currently spending money on. To make that clear, without the will to invest in your music business, it gets freaking hard to scale it. I'm talking about unbelievable hard. I see money as a currency of energy. That sounds a little bit abstract, but let me break it down. Another currency of energy is time. Let's stick with the money example. Of course, time is also something you can invest, but I think people are more willing to invest their time than their money. But I kind of want to switch that perception. If you want to figure out something, you can give money to someone else who has already figured it out, so you can save a lot of time. Because as I said, time is energy as well. So in exchange for the time that you put into making the money, you get time back because you save the time. That's kind of how I see it. And it still might sound a little bit abstract. That's why I want to get into the specific things that I would invest in now. An investment could be something like a subscription or a membership for a BeatStars account, a MailChimp account, or other tools like AIs to create artworks. And artworks is a pretty good example because you can learn how to make artworks on your own, as you can pay another person, already an expert on that level, to make the artwork for you, or you pay for an AI tool to create the artwork for you. So you spend the money, but you get a lot of time back. Of course, there are also obvious investments like better equipment, buying some better headphones or a good interface. If you are interested in what I'm using, I got my equipment linked in the description where you can see all my equipment. Another obvious investment would be buying new plugins. Some of you probably have never touched these things in their real life, but those are investments as well. But you can also invest money in some not obvious things that most of the time don't have immediate ROI as well. One example for a not obvious investment is to pay for a collab with an already established industry producer. You might think, yeah, they only let you pay for it and then nothing happens. As I said, it's not about the immediate ROI. The upside comes when you make connections that you wouldn't get without paying for it in first place. I once paid for a collab with an established industry producer. I'm pretty sure if I haven't paid for it, he would never heard my stuff, my midis, my loops and all that. After I paid for it, he gave me his mail, I sent him stuff. Once I sent him everything, he reached out to me a couple times because he then knew my stuff was good, and that's how I made a connection that I would never be able to make without paying for it. Because who can guarantee that those people actually read your messages if you don't offer any value besides sending them loops? Established industry producers have hundreds of people in their DMs every day that ask to send loops. I don't recommend to buy a collab with every producer, but what I want to say is there is definitely a chance that you get something back from it. So don't be afraid to spend some money to invest in yourself. If you want to do a smart investment, you can book a one-on-one call with me where I will help you to lay out the plan for you to make your first money or to scale up your music business. That's interesting for you. You can check out the first link in the video description. But if you just need some more information and you are interested what it also takes to make money with music, this is the perfect video for you.